When it comes to the analysis of organic molecules, mass spectroscopy is like a granddaddy of the techniques. We've come across mass spectroscopy before when we're looking at isotopes of elements. Here it helps us identify organic molecules based on their mass. Now, something weird happens when we put organic molecules in here, and that's something called fragmentation. So essentially what happens when you put the organic molecules in, they can break apart. Now that sounds like a bad thing, but actually it can give us really important information about the structure of that molecule, and I'll show you how. So just a few pointers to start with. First of all, it gives us really important information about an unknown organic molecule. So maybe you don't know what it is. This can give you information about it. Second thing is, as I mentioned, the compound, the molecule fragments during that ionization process to give multiple peaks. So we're not just going to get the whole molecule traveling through as a positive ion. It's going to get broken apart, and we're going to get parts of that molecule coming through and detected at the end of the mass spectrometer as well. So these fragments can help us deduce the structure of the molecule. So we might have, let's say, two molecules that are the same when it comes to their molecular formula, but we don't know how they're put together. Even something as simple as propan-1-ol and propan-2-ol. Now, they're both going to come out the same because they got the same MR, but fragments can actually help us deduce whether it's propan-1-ol or propan-2-ol. These aren't the examples I'm going to use here, though. I'm going to use basically propanone and propanal, and we can see the different peaks that we get, even though they're isomers of each other. So first up, we've got propanone. Propanone, of course, is a ketone, 3-carbon ketone. So we've got that 3-carbon chain, that double bond O right in the middle, and we've got 2 CH3s either side of it. Now the molecular formula of that, of course, is C3H6O. Propanal, conversely, is another 3-carbon molecule and has the same number of carbons, hydrogens and oxygens, but they're arranged differently. That C double bond O is now on the end carbon, so that means it's an aldehyde. So, as I say, two different molecules here, a ketone and an aldehyde, but both of them with the same molecular formula, C3H6O. So I'm going to draw a couple of axes now, classic axes where we've got abundance and mass charge ratio on the axes. I'm going to show you what the different peaks we get are when it comes to these two different substances. So as I say, two different axes here, one for propanone and one for propanal. We've got our abundance on the y-axis. That's usually percentage abundance. I'm not going to worry too much about the abundances here and the heights of the bars, but what we are concerned with are the mass to charge ratios. Now don't forget, mass to charge ratio, because it's a 1+ charge, that's essentially the relative molecular mass of these molecules that come through. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do here, I'll draw two peaks way over on the right-hand side. Now, the peaks on the furthest to the right-hand side, they're going to be the heaviest peaks. Now, if they're the heaviest ions that are coming through the mass spectrometer, that must be the entire molecule. So this is the MR, essentially, of our molecules. And because both of these are C3H6O, both of those MZ values for this peak on the far right-hand side are going to be 58. So this is known as the molecular ion peak, or the M+ peak. All right, so molecular ion peak. You're always going to find it. It's the one furthest to the right-hand side on your mass spectrum. Essentially, that's the MR of the molecule because its mass to charge ratio, the charge is 1. So essentially, like I said, it's the MR. So what's actually causing this peak? We have to be very particular about what we say is causing this peak. So when it comes to molecules, we need to include the whole formula, of course. Before, when we were dealing with isotopes, it was just single elements and a charge. Now we've got a whole molecule. So this is the C3H6O, close brackets, plus peak. That's what causes the 58 MZ peak there. And the same, of course, for propanal. So C3H6O, all in brackets, and then the positive charge outside the brackets because, of course, anything that gets through a mass spectrometer has got a plus charge in it. So it's the whole molecule, but it's lost an electron. It's got that 1 plus charge. So right now, both of these are exactly the same. They've both got an MR of 58. We're both going to, they're both going to cause 58 peaks on our mass spectrometer. Now, fragmentation. So what actually happens during fragmentation? Well, lots of different covalent bonds in both of these substances here. Now, as an electron gets knocked off, what happens if it's one of the electrons that's involved in a bond here, okay, which is quite likely. So if an electron disappears from one of these bonds, say this carbon to carbon bond here, that bond's going to break. You can't maintain a covalent bond with one electron. So essentially what we could do is break that molecule there. Okay, so this fragments, it breaks into two different pieces. We've got a CH3 and a C2H3O. So that could split there. Equally, it could split there as well. Again, giving a CH3 and a C2H3O. We're not really concerned about just taking a hydrogen off. That can happen. And you know what? Any number of bonds can be broken during this process. It's like when you smash a plate on the floor. Every time you smash a plate, it's not going to break in exactly the same way. It's the same here. You're going to get different peaks each time, and there's going to be a lot of background noise. But what we're concerned with are the major ones. So if we break it there in the carbon chain or there in the carbon chain, then we're going to end up with, two different big bits. We could end up with 3, okay? So that's how that could break up. Over here, this bond here could break just to give a CH3 and again a CH2, COH. Or it could break here to just give a COH and the C2H5. Or again, both of those bonds could break. But again, all we're concerned with here is breaking the molecule into two pieces, just breaking one bond at a time. And you will see that the fragments will actually be different for these two molecules. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to break this bond here. Okay, so I'm just going to highlight that. That's the bond we're breaking. Let's say that bond broke in this molecule. And let's say, I don't know, this bond broke in this molecule over here. What fragments are we going to get? Well, for propanone, we're going to get 2 fragments here if that bond on the left-hand side breaks. We're going to get one on the left here with an MZ value of 15 and one on the right, an MZ value of 43. Of course, you put those two things together, you get 58. So those two make up the whole molecule, of course. But what's causing them? Well, the 15 fragment is caused by a CH3+. You see a lot of these in organic mass spectra. It's always when CH3 on the end of a molecule comes off. This is CH3, close brackets, plus the 43. Well, that's caused by the rest of the molecule, C2H3O, close brackets, plus. So that's really important, okay? We got those 2 fragments. Now, actually, if this bond was broken, we're going to end up with the same things. We're going to end up with a CH3 and a C2H3O. So if this one was broken, we're going to end up with the same peaks, which is why they're quite big. It happens quite a lot. So that's the mass spectrum we'd see for propanone. And like I say, you probably get a few different ones in there, lower level ones, but the major breaks are in that carbon chain. Moving over to propanal, okay, if we break that bond that I highlighted in red there with the inverted arrows, we're going to get a peak of 15 on the MZ and a peak at 43, exactly the same as propanone. And they're caused by exactly the same things. We've got a CH3 plus, and we've got a C2H3O. Now they're arranged in a different way, but that doesn't matter. The mass spectrometer is only picking up the mass of those fragments. It can't tell how they're arranged. It's just picking up the mass of them. So it's the same so far. But what if we were to break this bond here? Okay, so this is the second one that we're breaking. So ignore that one was broken. This time we're splitting it here. Okay, so this is the second one that we're fragmenting here. So what are we actually going to get if this bond breaks in this molecule? If we broke the second one here, we ended up with the same things. We're only going to get these 2 peaks. Here, it's different. So if that bond on the right-hand side broke, okay, the one I've labeled number 2, we're going to get another peak at 29 and only another peak at 29. The reason? Well, the 2 fragments that cause that peak at 29 have the same MZ value. So COH, if you add up 12 for carbon, 16 for oxygen, and 1 for hydrogen, then you're going to get 29. Okay, so 12, 16, and 1, 29. If you add up C2H5, that also gives you 29. Of course, that 2 times 29 gives you 58. So both of those fragments have the same value when it comes to MZ. So it's those two that cause that extra peak. Now the whole thing here, okay, the fragments caused by different pieces of the molecule, you can see now how we've got two molecules with exactly the same molecular formula, so they both give us the same molecular ion peak. Remember, that's one furthest to the right hand side. But because of where the molecules can break, it can actually give us different peaks when it comes to fragments. This one is present in propanol. It's not present in propanone. You can't get a 29. No matter how you break it, you can't get a 29 in propanone. All right, so you're going to get this here, but not there. So you can see how the fragments can tell these two molecules apart. And that's a really important skill you've got to have, identifying these fragments. Sometimes it's just a case of trial and error. Oh, I've got a peak at 29. What's causing that? Look at your molecule and see if you can figure out, which atoms get broken off to cause that peak. So, in summary, what have we got? Well, fragments can help you tell the structure of a molecule. So the far right hand side is your molecular ion peak, okay? The heaviest fragment, that's the whole molecule, but fragments can help you tell the structure. Look for possible combinations of atoms that cause those peaks. So if you've got a peak at, 22, look for possible combinations of carbons and hydrogens and oxygens or whatever you've got in that molecule, because you will have information that cause that peak, so it can help you deduce the structure that way. Once you've got one peak, look for the other half. You know the MR, you should know the MR of that molecule using that molecular ion peak. So if you've got a fragment of 15, like in our first example, there's going to be a fragment of 43 that takes it up to 58. And last, really importantly, because students lose marks on this all the time, it's always a positive ion that causes a peak. If they ask you what causes the peak at 15 and you write CH3, you're not going to get a mark. If you write CH3 in brackets plus, you will get the mark because it's the ion. Everything in a mass spec is ionized, don't forget. So fragmentation, a really important tool for deducing the structure of a molecule. Of course, we can't tell, exactly what bonds are in there. There's maybe other information that we've got in a question that can help us decide exactly what the structure is, but this can go a long way to helping us. So we need other things like infrared spectroscopy to help us deduce the whole molecule, maybe, okay, but this goes a long way to helping us.